Okay, we're in the middle of the sugya of Shchiv Meirah. Just to reiterate, the Mishnah had said, if a Shchiv Meirah gives away all of his possessions, if he gives away all of his possessions, then it depends. If he dies, of course, whoever he wanted to get it gets it. If he gets better, it comes back to him. The reason he gave it, we were oimei that he didn't think he'd live, and therefore he gave everything away. However, if he left over something, then whatever he gave, he gave. Why? Because obviously he realized that, right? He thought he's going to live because he left over something for himself. So therefore, whatever he gave, and there's something he'll keep for himself. Keep that in mind as we begin the daf. So 9 lines up on Kuf Mem Zayin Amid Beis, 147b. Kuf Mem Zayin Amid Beis. Amar Rava, Amar Rav Nachman. Shchiv Meirah Shamar, the Shchiv Meirah who says, Yider Ploni Bebayezeh. Let Ploni live in this house. Yoichel Ploni Peris Dekel Zeh. Let Ploni eat this Peris. So Loyama Klum. He didn't say anything. Because living is Ein Ba Mamish. You can't be makna living. Living it has no tangibility to it. You can't be maknish living. So that's why you go ahead and you say, person should live in this house. It's nothing. Peiros of this dekel is a dava shalabaloilam, and ain't other makna dava shalabaloilam. So you're seeing that a shchiv meirah can make something more than a bari. In other words, if it doesn't exist in the healthy realm, it doesn't exist in the shchiv meirah realm. If it doesn't exist, again, you can't give away. You can't give away something that doesn't exist. You can't give away dava shalabaloilam. You can't do it right in the Shchiv Meirah realm. Go up from the Rashbam, about 6 lines up. The mills from the bottom. The mills is the lesser bebari, lesser b'shchiv meirah. Something that doesn't exist by the healthy person does not exist by the shchiv meirah. Shein shchiv meirah chama min abari. The shchiv meirah has one chumrah that the bari doesn't. And what is that? El damirasle b'makom kinyan shel barihu. The amira of the shchiv meirah is in the place of a kinyan. We said that what he's worried that his kids won't carry out what he wants to do. So to remove that obstacle, we said you don't need a kinyan. You don't need a kinyan suitor. It's enough to go ahead and just say it. That's the only thing the shchiv meirah has over the bari. That dive shchiv meirah kiksuvim is the written ukimisurim dami. That's right. The heichaden kinyan mayelis bebari, and where a kinyan does not help by a bari, such as giving over living or giving over a payers that are not in this world. Amir b'shchiv meirah lemahanya. The mirror b'shchiv meirah does not help. Midi hilkach ein moyel at sheyomer tenu bayezel leploni. Give this house to Ploni. The guy says the difference between saying living in this house or give the house. The house is tangible. It's something of a chefza. Mashen king either. So again, 2 cases: living in a house and payers of a dekel. Living in a house, you're not giving over anything. Payers of dekel. The payers are not in this world. So davish leba lo'olam. And again, and since it doesn't work by a bari, it doesn't work by a shchiv meirah either. At sheyomer. Through Bayazel Pliny v'yidaboy, give Pliny this house and he'll live in it. Through Dekel Zel Pliny, give this palm tree to Pliny, v'yochel pei roisav, and let him eat the dates. Okay, that's in other words. What did you do? You took away the 2 problems. The Dekel's in this world, the house is in this world. So you took care of everything. Now it's mashma that the guidelines of the Shchiv Meirah, which we pointed out, is the same as the bari. Lememra the Sover of Nachman, milsa dis b'bari isya b'Shchiv Meirah. Something that exists in the realm of the bari exists in the worlds of the shchiv meirah. The lesser bari, if it doesn't exist bari, lesser bari, lesser b'shchiv meirah. In other words, it's exactly the same thing with the exception of the amira. Exactly the same thing with the exception of the amira. 1 second, I'll show you that's not true. Aiva Amar Rava Amar Rav Nachman, says Rava in the name of Rav Nachman. Shchiv meirah sha'amar tenu halvasi leploni. A shchiv meirah, he's owed money. A shchiv meirah, he's owed money, and he says, give halvasi the chiyuv. It's a milval peh, guys. It's a milval peh. It's not b'shtar. It's a milval peh, and give it to so and so, and give it to so and so, and what? And this person that I'm giving it to will collect it. Would you think it's good? It's a milval peh. It's a milva al peh. You can't give that over because milva lohit son nitna, right? Look at Rashbam, fellas. Halvasi leploni, mamin shechayev leploni b'milva al peh. Ani nice in leplini, yifre'en aloi haloivim kaimi, and he'll collect it in my stead. Niskayim hadvarim. It's mekuyim. That's the chiddush of a shrimera. V'tehei alva asay leplini. V'afal gav de bebari lesa. Even though this in the realm of the healthy person, you're unable to give over a chayiv, then yachal hachnes chaveroi milval peh. Why? Because the person's giving us to use it. Then kinyan typhus elabedavashu be'en, and a kinyan can only be on something that's there. Elam kain milva b'shtar ugen shemais lashtar inami b'mayim shlashtin. So again, we have a kasha. You're telling me that what? That a halva or that a milva, the guidelines of shriv meira and milva and bari are equal, and the only nafkamina would be by the amira. You see over here that a shriv meira is capable of giving over a halva. Masha'en kain, a bari would not be able to give over this halva, this milva alpeh. As I frag the Gemara. Back in the Gemara, Shama tu alvesi the plani, halvasei the plani. Attacker goes to him. Halvasei the plani. V'alfa got the less of bari. So l'chayra, how does it work? So if you're telling me that what a bari and a shrimira are equal, how is the shrimira able to give over a halva which a bari would not be able to give over? Papa Amar ateretz hoyel v'yoirish yarsha says since he inherits him, he inherits this halva. It's like what? It's in rishus. We're going to see the matar of shrimira is like a yoirish. Rabbanan made it like a yoirish. So therefore, since a person could inherit this chayv, so too the shrimira can give over this chayv. So since it's b'Yerusha, it exists with a ton of a shrimira. So again, a big lumdus over here. We view a shrimira when he gives you something as your yoirish, inherit him. If a person would owe a shrimira money and the shrimira would die, his heirs would go ahead and inherit it. So the same thing over here, you're able to give it over. You're able, so really the guidelines of bari and shrimira are the same. But when it comes to going ahead and viewing the shrimira as present, we'll view it as a yoirish. That's what Papa's teretz. Halva is bebari. Halva is bebari. Right? In other words, he's not answering the shrimira, he's answering the bari. What did you say? You said that a bari can't give over a milval peh because it's not, because milval light sudden, right, Doc? You can't give it over. What about b'mayim shlashtin? The three of them, the shrimira, the one he wants to give it to, and the loiva. That's the king we saw. That's one of the three things that didn't have we don't understand why it works, but it does. It does work that way. So we know why a person does it. We don't know how he does it. So therefore, over ahead, you know what we're speaking about? We're speaking with halva. It does work, b'bari. The money that's in your hand should give to so and so with the three of us together. Kana. It does work. So very geshmak. Since what's your kasha? It doesn't exist by bari, and it does exist by shrimeira. It does exist by bari. If a bari gives over a milval peb and ma'imit shlashtin, and the three parties that are involved, it would work. And we said again, why it works? We don't know why it works. Why a person would do it to make it easier to facilitate commerce that you don't have to worry about Adam, right? You don't have to worry about Adam. Okay, that's the first part of the share. Second part, iboilahu. The third part's the hard part. Iboilahu. Okay, dekel. Okay, dekel leechad upeirosav leacher mahu. Now, mi shaya mokem peri loy shaya. There's a long rashbam here, and there's a taisvis, and I have on. I always do the rashbam as first. Taisvis is easier. Taisvis is shver because it's not speaking about a shriv meira, but it fits better in the words. So let's go to taisvis and see exactly what the shiler is. So look at the words of the Gemara. Iboilahu. I'm giving this dekel to somebody, and it's peiris to somebody else. Mi shayir mokem peri eloi. Do you leave over something or not? Now, if you leave over something, it's a good matan. If not, not. Again, we're not speaking of shriv meira. It's really a shayla of davish lebaloilam. Says Taisvis, iboilahu. Go down at 6 lines in the middle of Taisvis. It says al kei ner l'ri. You have it, guys? Al kei ner l'ri. About 6, 7 lines down. In the second to last Taisus on the page. Everyone have it? I'll take Shtika Kaida. Okay, Shtika Kaida. Now, Al Kei Nira Lari, Dila El Koi. It's not going back on Shriv Meira, but Yider Ploini Bebayezeh Layama Klum. Why do we begin to share with guys? If you say that Pliny should live in the house. He didn't give anything. Why? Because living is nothing, right? You're not giving anything. It's going on that. This Gemara is going on that statement. That statement where you're giving over something, it works. You should have a davar shleib ala olam. Become a boile. Ki ama deka leechad. If you say this palm tree should go to one, upeiroisav laacher, and the payros should go to somebody else. Now, if you would give the decal, so the decal is ba'olam, and of course the guy gets the payros. What Shaila is, you're giving the decal to one person, but you're giving the davar shleib ala olam to the other person. Good. What's the tzad that he should get something? Continues Rashbam. V'shayir mokum tzimuach hapeiros, and you're leaving over the branch, the place where the peiros are going to come out from. Mi aminan loyhavi shir. Do we say it's not considered left over something? Le'inyan sheyachshvu hapeiros davar shleib ala olam. That what that they should be considered the peiros that they're in the world. Or maybe no, maybe the Okay, guys, listen. Let's view the tree. So I'm giving a tree. I'm a healthy guy. I'm giving my tree to Rabbi Avi, and I'm giving the peiros to Michael. Now we could say Michael gets nothing. Why? The peiros aren't in the world. Or you could say that what? What are you getting? In the tree itself, you're getting the peiros, you're getting the part of the tree that the peiros is going to come out from, and that is boilam. So that's the Gemara. That's the Gemara Shaila. So let's look at the Lashon of Gemara. Iboilahu. You have a Shaila. Do we say that when a person goes ahead and he gives over the tree, sells the tree to someone or gives it to somebody, he's mishayah the makam of the peri. He leaves it over, or he doesn't. So if again, that's the way Taisa spoke out. If he goes ahead, if he leaves over the makam peris, we say it's not considered a shear, that it should be considered a davar shleib ala olam, or maybe no, maybe the gam lebala peris makam simuach haperis. And kain zachem b'makam simuach haperis loyhavi peris davar shleib ala olam. Zachem b'makam haperis shebala olam, because he was zeich already in that. So if it's sawat, one more time, I have to get it straight. If you leave over something, what's the lashon? Mishaya mokem peri. Does he leave over the mokem peri and therefore the guy gets nothing? Or loishaya, or he didn't leave over the mokem peri and he gave him the mokem peris, right? In our scenario, if he leave, did he leave over mokem peri to Avi and I didn't give Michael anything? It's a davar shleib ala olam. Or loishaya, meaning I didn't leave it over to Rabbi Avi and I gave Michael the makam peris, and therefore what? It's a davar shleib ala olam. That's the pshat. Intim saloymar leacher lehavi shir. If you're going to tell me to somebody else, it's not a shir, meaning what? And therefore it's a davar shleib ala olam. Liatzmai mahu. What about la'atzmai? What about himself? What about himself? If I sell the peris to the decal to Rabbi Avi, I give him a present, but I'm leaving over the peris to myself. Is it what? A shir or not? So Amar Rav Nachman, Imtim Sulaim Dekel le'echad u'peirosav la'acher le'havi shir. If you're going to say that what, it's not considered being left over. Makam peri dekel la'acher v'shaya peirosav lefanav shaya makam peri. Even though for Michael it would not be a shir and he wouldn't get it, but for himself he's mishaya, you would get it. I would keep it. Right? My timer. Kol legabe nafshe ba'ayin yafim mishaya. Anyone when it comes to himself, what? It's considered a person is going to leave over. So again, Nachamo, I have to, one more time. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, so the Gemara is being poshet that even if in the case where I give the dekel to Rav Avi and the payers to Michoil, regarding Michoil, I would not be Mishayir and it would be a Davar Shel Ba'al Olam. Regarding myself, I would be Mishayir and it would not be a Davar Shel Ba'al Olam because I leave over the Macham Simok for myself. That's what the Gemara is saying, because when a person goes ahead, he's going to do it by what's better for himself. Kol legabe nafshin ba'ayin yafa Mishayir. Amar Rav Abba Rav Ashi.
Once he knows that's the only way he can get the payros, but simply he's leaving it over for himself because he wants the payros. So
Again, how do we view it? In other words, a person for himself will do what's best, but a person will do what's best for himself. A person what's going to do what's best for himself. Now, the question is, in that case, why don't I just give him payers outright? I'm such a nice guy. Why am I making this convoluted case when it's not in the world? I want to be such a nice guy. So you're asking, if there's a Heika Timsa, why don't we go ahead and be Oymid his das that he wants to do it? But he didn't. He didn't say that. I could have verbalized it. I could have said that, the payers are yours when they come in the world. I could have made it in a way I didn't. So I left it open for conversation. Okay. So the Gemara applied it to one case. The Gemara now is going to say it goes on another case. The Gemara is going to say it goes on another case. Amalei Rav Abba l'Ravashi. Anon ad Reb Shimon ben Lakish Maslin Allah. We learned this conversation about leaving over on what the dialogue with Rav Nachman. We learned it on a different case. We learned it in the case of Reish Lakish. What's the case of Reish Lakish? Okay, guys, we had early in the Masechta. If a person leaves a rooftop, does he able to go ahead and extend Zizin, like maybe like a Mexican hacienda? Could he go ahead and extend it into the airspace or not? So if he's leaving it for himself, a person sells a house. He's not selling the rooftop. They used to use the rooftop. So in mail, if he leaves the rooftop for himself, when he goes ahead and says accept the rooftop, he's leaving it going out for himself because he didn't have to say accept the rooftop. That wasn't necessary. That was the Gemara previously. Since automatically he keeps the rooftop, why do you have to say chutzma rooftop? The chutzma rooftop means the extension out. Okay, with that in mind, it says Amar Rav Reb Shimon ben Lakish Masina. Amar Rav Shimon ben Lakish Hamoicha bias lechaveroi. I'm selling you this house on the condition that the rooftop is mine now. He didn't have to say this. Automatically, we say when a person sells the house, he doesn't sell the bar v'dus, right? Same thing over here. He's not selling the rooftop. So when he said chutz, what did he mean? I want to keep for myself the rights to stick out projectiles into the yard. The yutel yoyin shaloi. The yutel yoyin, it's his. Amid beis. Now, if a person gives bayis le'echad, udiyuta le'echad, he gives the house to one person and he gives the rooftop to another person. Mahu, what's the din? Mi have a shir oiloi. Do we say that what? Do we say it's a share or not? Rashbam. Iboyalu bayis le'echad b'matanis bari. We're not speaking about shemera. B'diyuta le'echad, and he's giving the diyuta over what to an individual. He's giving the youth to an individual. Do we say having makam shir? Mi ikala hay bal diyuta shir b'makam b'chatzer? Does he have a place in the chatzer lo'itzazin? Do the person who gets to the yuta, does he have the right to go ahead and put these beams out into the chatzer? Eloi. So that's the shir. Does he leave over that or not? Does he have that right or not? Imtim saloim eloi havi shir. If he doesn't have that right, what about from himself? Does he have that right? Okay, so that's what the Gemara is going to discuss. Iboilu, bias lecha b'diyutu lecha mahu. Mi have share, and he can go ahead and leave and put it out. Or lo have imtim salema bias lecha b'diyutu lecha lo have share, and he can't put out the beams into the chutzner. Chutz midiyutu mahay. If he says the exception of chutz midiyutu, what's the din? In other words, myself. What's the din about myself? So Rav Nachman imtim salema. This is the application, guys. We applied Rav Nachman to our case. The case of what of the we applied Rav and Rav Nachman the case of the Paris and the decal. Here he's applying it to what the Yuta and the rooftop and the Yuta and the Zizin. So Amar Rav Nachman Imtim Saloima Bayis Lechad the Yuta Echad Layavi Shir, and the person who gets the rooftop cannot go ahead and be Mitzvah Zizin. Chutz the Yuta have a share. Va'aliba Rebbe Zavid. When you say I'm keeping it for myself with the exception of the Yuta. I'm selling you the house, with the exception of the Yuta, then you would retain rights. Since he's leaving over in the house, the place of the yuta, he's also leaving avolat, the place for the zizin. That's the application. Amar of Yosef bar Yumi, Amar of Nachman. Shchiv meira shekosav kol nechasav la'acherim. He again now, guys. Why do we say in the Mishnah? If you gave over everything and you die, then whoever you gave it to, you gave it to. If you get better, you get the whole thing back. Because we're oimed yadas that what. Had you known you'd live, you never would have given it away because you gave away everything. On the other hand, if you left out something, it's a raya that what you thought you're going to get better, and therefore you left something for yourself. Okay, so now with that in mind, so Amar of Yosef bar Yumi, Amar of Nachman, Shchim resha kosav kol nechasav la'acherim, and he doesn't leave over anything for himself. So Royin, we check him out. In b'machalek, he began dividing up the property, and he said, I'm giving away everything. And then he said, Reuven, you get this. Harry, you get this. Fred, you get this. Levi, you get this. The dinner, and he dies. Mace, kana kulam. They all get what he said. V'im amad, and he gets better. Chayze b'kulan, because again, he gave away all his property. That's our Mishnah. V'im b'nimlach. However, if he went ahead, his das was not to go ahead. What? His das was not to go ahead and give away everything. So he gave away a little bit, and then he was quiet. Guys, he gave away a little bit and then it was quiet. So there's two ways to learn. He gave away a little bit and then he was quiet. So maybe he is leaving, then he gives away the rest. Maybe he's having chabrata on the first part, and therefore it would be a good matana, or not. Because we're going to see in the Gemara. So benimla, mace, kulam, kana kulam. If he dies, then everyone gets everything. Memanav shach. However, amad, ein chayze ella ba'achrein. You hear this? So let's say he's giving guys. I looked eye contact. He's giving away his property. He's giving away everything, and he stops. He stops right then and there. So he gives. Oh, you get field A and B. He stops. Then he goes, and all the rest of the property goes to you. So, if he dies, no problem. If he lives, there's a svara to say that the first matana is a good matana. Because once he stopped and he said, and you get C, D, and E, means A and B is going to you. So he was Mishaya, C, D, and the other thing. And therefore, what does it say? The first guy gets his, and the last guy doesn't get anything. He lost it, right? He lost it. That's Nimach means over here. So Mace, Kana Kulam, Amad, if he's Amad, only the fields C, D, and E go back, but A and B would remain by the first guy. Says more of a Dilma, maybe Iyune Ayin, maybe he's not having charata, maybe he just was quiet because he wanted to be Ma'ayin, but not he's having charata. Says the Gemara, V'hada Yoyev. After the Gemara, Stama de Shchimira made the Daik V'hada Yoyev. Shchimira, he's thought out and then he gives. He's not, in other words, we're not going to say that, oh, A, B, and 1 second, I got to think about C, D, and E. No, he thought all about that before. And therefore, we're going to say, again, so he's giving away the property. If he just divides up everything, gives away everything, then dead goes, gets better, comes back, right? If he's giving away, if he goes ahead and is nimlach, meaning he gives a little bit, stops, it's quiet, then gives away a second part, then it depends. If he dies, everyone gets everything. It's easy. If he goes ahead and gets better, then the last, we're going to say the last person got everything, right? We're going to divide up the two matanis, guys. The first part and the second part. The first part was given A and B, was given already. All he had left was C, D, and E. So what did the second guy get? All of his nechasim. What's the halacha if you get all the nechasim? Omad, it goes back. So therefore, achrein is everything's going back. Mashenkin A and B was mixas at that time. He keeps. That's what we're saying, guys. It's introduction to okay. Amar Avacha B'Miyumi Amar of Nachman. Shchiv meirash kosev kol nechasav la'acherim. For Amad and he gets better. So what's the din? L'chari he gets everything back, right? Says the Bryce. Ain't a chayzah, you don't get anything back. Matanas Mekayim. Fred the Gemara, what's the reason? In other words, I'm giving away everything that's over here, but I may have some holdings in Eretz Yisrael. So, if I have a holdings in Eretz Yisrael, therefore the matana I gave to you is a miktsas. The halacha is matana shchim rabbi miktsas is a shmei matana. So therefore, we can chayish that when he gave away everything, he wasn't giving away everything. He had something else. And memela it's miktsas. Miktsas the matana is mekoyim. The elamas nisan viktani loishaya karka kolshu ema nasik hayemes heichim mishkachasla. How are you going to find it? How are you going to ever find a case where you know for sure he gave away everything? Why aren't we chayish that he always has some little property in the Alps or something? It says on Rav Chama, but Oimer kol nechasai. Oh, he says lashon kol nechasai. I'm giving you kol nechasai. So wherever I'm nechasim, he's giving away everything. Right? Ma Rashi Amar b'muchzik lon delesle. It's muchzik to us that he doesn't have. In other words, we know for sure that this is all he has. This is the only he has. We know for sure. We know. Checked his books. Everything, no bank accounts, no Swiss stuff, nothing, zero. All he has is this, and Memela we know for sure. Okay, here's the Gemara has the following shaila, guys. If you go ahead, you have, let's say, $10,000, and you go ahead and you give it to Ruvain. And then you say, well, I'm taking $5,000 away from Ruvain and giving it to Shimon. There's two ways to look at it. We can look at it as he's bottled the giving to Ruvain. So matana ben miktsas, right? Do we say it's bottled or not? Well, no. Do we say that? No, it's still mekuyim. Do we say it's still mekuyim? So if you give everything to Ruvain and then take away to Shimon, do you leave Ruvain with anything or not? That's the question. That's the question. So I'd like to go to the sheet that I sent out, because without it, the Gemara is impossible. With it, the Gemara will just be hard. Okay. You have the following. There's two possibilities. So chazara b'miktsas, a chazara b'miktsas habi chazara b'kula. Do we say when he gave away partially to Shimon, it's chazar b'kula, meaning he's having charata from the first nesina. So now, if he would die, if you say that, then Ruvain, the Rishon, gets nothing, because he took away the gift he gave them. He took away, and Shimon would receive the miktsas. That's chazara b'miktsas have a chazara b'kula, meaning you're taking away everything from. You good? You're taking away everything from Ruvain. The same din would apply if you stand up. Even if you get better, the same din would apply. It's no nafkamina whether you live or, again, if you stand up, I was mevatel this one, and this remains what? This remains matana b'miktsas. Guys, in the latter case of Amad, right? You see Amad? Why would the second person receive it if you bought the kula? Because then you mevatel the nesina to Ruvain, so it remains a miktsas in Shimon. If it's a miktsas in Shimon, Shimon's going to get it. So mimanav shach, whether mace or Amad, it has the same guidelines. The Rishon will get nothing because it's a chazara b'kula, and the Sheni will get. You got it? What about the other way? If you say chazara b'miktsas loy havi chazara b'kula, if you're going to say that it's not, so therefore if he dies, so push it. What he gave to Ruvain remains. What he gave to Shimon remains, and they both get. Good. What about if he dies? What happens if he dies, guys? Then you get nothing. Why? Because there's no shear. He gave away everything. Ruvain and Shimon together collectively got all of his nechasim. And he gets better, gets it back. So you get nothing. That's the double zeros. Guys, you see the chart? Okay, let's go through one more time. One more time. If you hold chazara b'miktsas, have a chazara b'kula, meaning he's having chazara from Ruvain by giving part to Shimon, is chazara to the to Ruvain. So therefore, Ruvain, whether the guy dies or he gets better, Ruvain has nothing. He gets nothing. It's like, why? Because it's Chazara. And Shimon will get whatever he gives to him. Because again, it's a miktsas. It's a miktsas. Over here, what about if Chaza b'miktsas lo yavi Chazara? So meaning both gifts are in so you gave everything. If he dies, he gets his part, and if he gets better, then he gets back everything because he gave away everything. Okay, this is I'm going to keep this open because again, you'll see it'll be very helpful as we begin. Okay.
Why doesn't he get back? If you say lo,
Which case? The first or the second?
Second.
Second one, right?
You say
Lo yavi chazara, so meaning the gift is intact to both. So gift is intact, so the Rishon gets in, right? Okay, good. Okay, so now that'll be very, very helpful. So let's see the Gemara. Iboilahu, the following Shiloh. Chazara b'miktsas, a shchimira who gives away all of his property to someone, then he has chazara and he gives part away to somebody else. Is it havi chazara b'kula? Is it chazara b'kula eloi? And you have the nafkaminas in front of you guys, and you have the nafkaminas right in front of you, right? The question is, okay, now we want to be pushed to the Shiloh Toshma. Okay, we're going to bring in two cases. I didn't put these on the chart. We're going to bring in. I should have maybe made a chart for this also, but we're going to bring in two cases. Okay, what's the first case? Toshma. He says, Kulon l'rishain. I'm giving everything to the rishain, and now he changes his mind and he says, Miktsas l'sheni. Good. Hasheni kaina v'harishon loy kaina. Guys, look at the chart. Where's the possibility where the Rishon gets nothing and the Sheni gets everything? Mace or Amad, either one, right? But it would be a raya that what? That Chazara mixes Havi Chazara, right? Yeah, we Havi Chazara. So continues the Gemara. Now, my lav b'shemes, it must be speaking when you die. Lav dafka, guys. It could be Amad also. Again, like we just fit in the chart, right? We'll see why in a second. So, my lav b'shemes, when he died, therefore he died, the Rishon gets nothing. Why? Because why? It was Chazara b'kula. And therefore, it's a raya that Chazara b'miktzas have a Chazara b'kula. Guys, look at the blanks. This guy gets nothing. That's what we said. He gets nothing. He gets something. It's only two possibilities. Now, you want to say mace. Says Merloi, it's speaking b'sha'amad. It's speaking what? Where he got better. Now, so meaning, guys, if you look at the chart, meaning it could be speaking in Chazara b'miktzas lo yavi Chazara b'kula. And speaking where he got better. You have a kasha then, right? Why would the Sheni get nothing? Okay, that remains a shver. Guys, you're telling me, look at the chart. You're telling me, no, it's no raya to this. It could be the Chazara b'miktzas lo yavi Chazara b'kula. And what's it speaking about? Where you got better. So the question is, if you got better, how come the Sheni gets something, the Rishon doesn't get anything? Right? They both should get nothing, right? They both should get nothing. Right, good. Continues the Gemara. Loi b'sha amad. Says the Gemara, Hachinami mistabra, to say it's speaking where he got better. Midiktani seifa of a brisa. What does the brisa say? Nasim, here's the opposite. Nasim miktsasan shel he gives part of nechasim l'rishain. He gives part to Ruvain, the kulan l'sheni, and everything to Shimon. What's the din? Rishain kaina v'hasheni loy kana. Guys, Rishain is kaina, and the second one is not kaina. I'amit b'shleima, it's speaking b'sha'amad, mishum hacha sheni loy kana. The sheni doesn't get it. Why? Because he got everything. Fellas, this is the case. You gave everything. You gave part to what? To Ruvain. But when you gave to Shimon, that's all you had. When I gave to Shimon, that's all he had left. Memelu would make sense. If you get better, Shimon gets nothing because I gave him everything. And Ruvain gets because it was a matana b'miktsas. Guys, you hear? It makes sense. Guys, one more time. Guys, if you listen, you're getting better. And we're saying the Rishon gets and the Sheni doesn't get. How's that possible? It must be the Rishon gets because you left over something. The Sheni gets nothing because you gave him everything and you got better. So if the Seif is speaking where you got better, it must be the Reish is also speaking you got better. So if it's speaking you got better, l'chayre, you don't have a raya of chazar b'miktzas havi chazara. But you still got a big problem because we have 0 zeros on the board, says the Gemara. Ela what? Says the Gemara. If you're speaking b'shamad, it makes sense that what? That the Rishon gets and the Sheni doesn't get. Ela i'amit b'shemeis, if the speaking died, travayu likni, they both should get. They both should get. Right? That he died. So l'chari you have a riot speaking, you got better, and you don't have a riot of chazor b'miktzas havi chazor b'kula. Amalei Rav Yemel Rav Ashi, utahavei nami b'sha'amad. Even if it's speaking with sha'amad, we can prove that chazor b'miktzas is a good chazorah. Why? I'am b'shleima chazor b'miktzas havi chazor b'kula. Haini d'sheni mias. He gets something. He gets something, guys. On the chart, if you can tell me chazor b'miktzas havi chazor b'kula, it would make sense that the sheni gets something. The second part, so b'kula nami kimechalik ulechad minayo lelikni. You should get nothing. In other words, initially we wanted to say you have a good raya from here. Chart number 1. We said no, you don't have a good raya because it's speaking about amad. And now we're saying no. If it's amad, l'chayra, how could the sheni get anything? He should get nothing. So therefore, we were going back and saying no. Chazar b'miktzas havi chazar b'kula. We're going back and entertaining that this is the correct pshat. That is the correct pshat. Now, why we learn Mesa over here instead of Amat initially is because of this nafkamina. The nafkamina over here between this and this. That was the okay. Okay, let's see what we got. Let's go through it one more time. Yeah, one more time. We have a shaila. If you go ahead and you cut, you give everything to one guy, and then you go retract, you're retracting the gift completely. If you're retracting the gift completely, whether you die or get better, number 1, Reuven gets nothing, and number 2 gets whatever. He gets, if it's Amar B'Kula, you got everything. Mace, if Mace, you get everything, and again, you only gave part of it to him. Maybe you only gave him 500 or 5,000. You didn't give him 500, so he gets a man of shach. If it's what? If it's not a retraction, then if he dies, they both split. And if it's not a retraction and it gets better, they both get nothing, right? So initially we wanted to go ahead and say, l'chayra, we can bring a raya by the fact that a case is speaking where the first guy is getting nothing and the second guy is getting everything. It must be speaking like this case where the guy died. So therefore, we have a raya the chazor b'miktzas havi chazor b'kula. You're getting off Ruvain. The Gemara says no, it's speaking Amad, but you got better. The Gemara has a problem in safe surf in the end. If Amad get better, then you got better. It should be, if it's chazor b'miktzas lo yavi chazor b'kula, then he shouldn't get anything. So obviously, therefore, we're going to go back to here and say this is the correct shot. Okay, that's what we did. It's a minor little chart, but for me, worked very well. Without it, it was like a little worked well. Okay, let's finish up. Now the Gemara concludes. Says the Gemara. All right. The hilchas chazar mixes havi chazar b'kula, as we just said. And it makes sense that if you give something to Ruvain and give something to Shimon, you're getting off Ruvain completely. So Reisha. Okay, now we're going back to the Brisa, guys. We're going back to the Brisa. The Brisa said Rishon gets everything. Rishon, he gives everything to the Rishon. He gives everything to the Rishon, and he takes away from the Sheni. So we'll find that case, Bein Shemes, Bein Shamad, right? Because in that case, the Sheni is Kana and the Rishon gets nothing. Okay, that's chart number 1, guys, right? That's chart number 1. Seifa is where he gave part to the Rishon and then the whole thing to the Sheni. Then in that case, if he dies, they both get. And if he stands up, then the Rishon gets because he got the Miktsas, and the Sheni won't get because he got everything that was left over. Okay, very good. Oof. I told you it's a little challenge. What?